Panacea Medical Centre is fairly new, but we have over 20 years experience in the hyperbaric industry. Panacea was actually the healing goddess in Greek and in Russian, which is one of the reasons we picked this name, because it's exactly what we want to do. We want to heal where we can. We have state-of-the-art technology. Our hyperbaric chamber can comfortably sit 11 people. It's more like being in a private jet rather than a sort of like a metal box. And you will always have a tender inside with you when you have any of the treatments. The main thing that we do here is the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and then we have the adjunctive therapies, things like ozone, Hbot, lymphatic drainage massage, and the ice queen, etc. We'll go more into depth into those at a different date. Today we're looking more at the hyperbarics. So with hyperbarics, the air that you're breathing at the moment is 21% oxygen and 79% nitrogen. Well, there's 1% that's a slightly different, but it's the easiest way to break it down for people. What we do then is we put you inside a pressurised container called a hyperbaric chamber, and we will then increase the pressure. The pressure at the moment we call 1 bar, which is just being on what we class as the surface. As you go into the chamber, we're going to take you down either to 2 or 3 bar, depending on the treatment depth. And we do that by actually putting air inside the chamber. It's quite a strange sensation, because you can be looking out the window and you're expecting to be going down, but you're not. It's just the air that's changing. So as you're in the chamber, what will happen is you need to pressurise your ears. Very much like when you're on a plane for takeoff and landing. If you hold your nose and breathe, you can swallow, or you can wiggle your jaw, and you'll hear your ears go pop. As I said before, you'll always have a tender inside the treatment with you, and she will actually show you through all of the techniques. So if you do struggle, she's there to help. It'll take about 5 or 10 minutes to get down to what we call the treatment depth, depending on how deep you're going. Once we get to that depth, you'll hear an operator voice saying, "Please, patients on O2," and again, the tender will help you put on your mask. Once you've got your mask on, you're going to do 3 20-minute sessions with air breaks in the middle. We used to do 30-minute sessions, but a white paper that's come out of Israel recently has shown that the benefit of actually having hyperoxygenation and hypoxia will actually increase the production of growth stem cells and growth hormones. So we now break it into 20-minute sessions with a 5-minute break. So you'll have your mask on for 20 minutes while you're watching a TV show or a nice film, and then the tender will be told to have a break, so you can take a sip of water, or you can stand up and have a stretch, and then we do another 20 minutes, and we do that 3 times for you. On the way up, we say to patients, if you want to keep your mask on and get a little bit of extra O2, you're more than welcome. And then when we get to about 3 meters, we'll start taking the masks off for you. When you finish the treatment, you might find that you're really quite tired. And I always say to patients, if you're tired, try, if you can, take a nap, because the body is very much like a computer. While you're awake, all the tabs are open and you're working away. When it needs to do an update, it has to do that in sleep mode. And the body does exactly the same. It can only update while you're asleep. And you've now given it so much oxygen that it now wants to go and fix things. So it's trying to tell you to have a nap so it can go and actually do something for you. So basically, while you're in the chamber, you're breathing 100% O2. And what happens is that basically floods your body, because at the moment it's the red blood cells that carry the oxygen around, and you get the gas exchange through your lungs. What happens now is we put so much oxygen into the system, it's now involving in the plasma as well. So where you get to a blockage or something in like the brain, the synapses isn't working, where it's actually meeting it, and it can't go any further, even though the red blood cells are minute, the plasma can actually start to seep through. This then keeps this area oxygenated as the body then rebuilds around it, so then you get a pure oxygen flow. The good thing with hyperbaric oxygen therapy, there's 14 FDA approved treatments for it. This includes things like scuba diving accidents, which is called the bends, or DCI. We've also got like crush injuries, gangrene and things like that. These are things that have been approved by the FDA, and they're called on-label. There is also lots of treatment which are classed as off-label, purely because there's not been enough research done on certain conditions, or we can't guarantee the amount of treatments that we have. It's like dealing with autism, for instance. We must have treated about 20 children now with autism with really great results, but some of the patients need 40 sessions. Some need 50, some need 60, and we've had a couple that have needed like 80 sessions. So the FDA can't say the average would be, because each child is different. After people have contracted COVID, about 2 or 3 months later, they're still not recovered to the same level that they were before they had the condition. They're dealing with chronic fatigue, brain fog, pains, aches and injuries, also sort of like a sense of like loss of smell and taste. What happens with the hyperbarics is we're going in and we start to repair the damage that's been done by the long COVID. COVID, what we're doing is the oxygen is actually repairing the damage that's been done by COVID. And we're finding out with most patients for long COVID, they need between 20 and 40 sessions, depending on how bad they were to start with. We've just had a long COVID patient with us for 8 weeks, and he's gone from being nearly bedridden to being able to now go and play with his 4 children, which is fantastic. And again, the reason that we love our jobs. You've also got things like fibromyalgia, MS, Parkinson's. Looking through all of the conditions, they're all based in the same sort of thing. It's like cognitive functions, pain sensory, mobility and things like that. We say with hyperbaric oxygen therapy, we're not treating a specific condition, we're actually treating the signs and symptoms, which can actually be very similar in lots of different conditions. This is why we offer a free consultation service with our doctor, because she will then listen to your signs and symptoms, look at the medical form that you produced, and then she can make a decision based on your particular characteristics and signs, rather than just a generic treatment that fits all. Also, as long as treating like specific chronic conditions, we also have a lot of patients that come over here for anti-aging or just general well-being. They'll come and give us a week or 2 weeks of time, so they'll have between 10 and 15 hyperbaric treatments. We'll then do some IVs as well. And I say the good thing with the hyperbarics is once the body has used all of the extra oxygen to fix any areas that have been damaged, it sends it to the largest organ in the body, which is the skin. So as I say, we get people that they're just interested in their general well-being and also how they look. But we also then get things like the managing directors that are going into big business meetings where they've got to negotiate. They will actually come and have hyperbaric treatment with us. Firstly, because they have to switch off. They can't take their phones in. They can't take the laptops in. They literally just have to sit and be. But also when they come out, they say that they're actually feeling now that they can concentrate better. We also have students that before they're coming for exams, that's a big thing, because again they can get in, go and do the exam, and everything is firing on all cylinders. We also then have athletes, and we treat a lot of the football players on the island for the hyperbarics as well as the Ice Queen. If they get an injury, we can get them on the pitch like 3 or 4 weeks earlier than they could normally. If they've had a break, again, we can take a good couple of weeks off the healing time. So whenever the coach has a problem with them, they'll send it to us for like 5 to 15 treatments. And as I say, as far as they're concerned, it's saving the money because they're not sitting on the bench. So we were one of the first hyperbaric chambers to open on the island, and originally that was designed for the scuba diving accidents, and we were based in Limassol. But we realised that a lot of the diving accidents were coming in from Larnaca, so it made more sense to move to Larnaca. And now apart from doing the diving incidents, we deal with hyperbarics on a daily basis. And as I said before, we have state-of-the-art chambers, and we also have a doctor that is very progressive. She looks at everybody's case individually, because you might have 10 people with the same condition, but they all have different signs and symptoms. So we treat every person as an individual, and every case is an individual treatment plan. So I'm extremely lucky with the team that I have, because we all care about what we do. And when you're dealing with people on a daily basis that are unwell, having that care and commitment towards people really does make them feel at home. We have patients here between sort of like 4 and 8 to 10 weeks. So by the time they leave, they've actually become friends. And that's the way we do, because we work on really small numbers. We don't want to be a factory. We don't just want to have a conveyor belt of patients. We take our time with our patients. We sit, we listen to them, because the more we can sit and listen to them, the more we can help. we have a lot of people that come from overseas, especially like the Australians, because Australia is so big. They like to come here because we do all of the treatments under one roof. We had one patient come and she said she researched to be able to do everything that we did here for her in an 8-week period. She would have been travelling for like 4 hours in between clinics on a daily basis, which is no good when you're ill. Also, it wasn't cost effective because you're spending so much time travelling or getting on planes. So they come here, and it's also more cost effective. But also what they found out is it was cheaper to come here, have all the treatment, pay for their accommodation, pay for the taxis, pay for their food, than it was to actually have all of the treatment in Australia. We were charging about €12,000 for a 6-week treatment, and she worked out it had been the equivalent of about 200,000 Australian dollars, which I think is about €50,000. Also, another reason that people choose Panacea is it's not just the medical treatment that we're interested in. We understand that we're the local knowledge for you. So when you're looking to book accommodation, they always give us the details, and we can go and check the accommodation out and check that it's in the right catchment area for getting taxis, for being able to go and have dinners in the evening, for restaurants. Because we understand when you're chronically ill, the last thing people want to do is have to worry about cooking for themselves. So I say part of my job is to remove any stress I can, and that's basically from the start of our conversation to actually getting you here. So I can organise all of the taxis for you, help sort out the accommodation, have visas. Also, a lot of people that are coming over from overseas want to have oxygen on the plane. So again, rather than having to do all the forms on your own, I'm used to doing with them. So we'll say it's easy for us to do them together so that we can actually get you here in all in one piece with the least amount of stress. As I say, there's different ways that you can actually contact us. You can do email through the website, or we have a WhatsApp number. The WhatsApp normally comes to me, so basically I'm happy to chat with anybody. I'll normally do a video call just so that you can see who you're speaking to. And we have a lot of patients go, "Oh my God, you're English," because they're concerned if they're coming to Cyprus, they might have like a language barrier. So as I say, I will always try and do a video so we can sort of like build up a relationship. And as I say, that's all you have to do is send an inquiry through, and then we will contact you. And as I say, if it's easier to do it on emails, because sometimes we understand with chronic conditions, being on the telephone is not great. We also could actually send the emails on a black background with a white text, because we found that again with a lot of the Lyme patients, they found that easier to read.